Chapter 5. Shimmer in the hallway. The mirror stood in the long hallway like a quiet sentinel, catching the afternoon light from the tall windows and bending it into a soft, liquid shimmer. Most visitors passed it without much thought, a glance, a murmur of admiration, a brief pause to adjust a glove or collar. But every so often, someone stopped. A young violinist lingered after a small gathering, the last notes of the evening still humming faintly in his bones. He turned toward the mirror almost absently, expecting nothing more than a reflection of his tired posture and rumpled coat. Instead, he felt watched. The sensation was subtle, a faint tightening at the back of his neck, the sense of a gaze meeting his before he fully raised his eyes. He stepped closer. The reflection sharpened, every thread of his sleeve rendered with uncanny precision. Then it happened, a blink, not his. The reflection's eyelids closed a fraction late, as though the image were following him rather than mirroring him. The violinist froze. The delay was so slight he might have imagined it, but the unease remained, settling into his chest like a held breath. He leaned in. The glass shimmered softly, as if adjusting to him. A servant passed behind him, and the moment dissolved. The violinist stepped back quickly, embarrassed by his own stillness. "Your mirror is unusual," he murmured. The servant smiled politely. "It draws the eye, signor." The violinist wasn't thinking about beauty. He was thinking about the way the reflection had seemed to notice him first. Later that night, when the house had quieted and the candles burned low, Virelli walked the hallway alone. He paused before the mirror, studying his reflection with the same detached curiosity he gave to rare books or scientific instruments. The glass shimmered again, a faint ripple, like breath on water. He leaned closer. For a heartbeat, he had the unmistakable impression that the reflection's eyes shifted toward him before the rest of its face followed. A tiny, almost imperceptible lag. A moment of attention, he blinked. The reflection blinked a fraction late. He exhaled, steadying himself. "Fatigue," he murmured. "Nothing more." As he walked away, he felt the weight of the mirror's gaze on his back, not hostile, not inviting, simply aware. Watching, the storm pressed against the shutters of Count Castelforte's study, rattling them like a warning. He lit a second lamp, its glow spilling across manuscripts, scrolls, and alchemical instruments arranged with obsessive precision. He removed his gloves. His fingertips still tingled from the Bellini mirror, that subtle, impossible sensation of being noticed. He opened Speculum Obscura, but tonight he needed more than European scholarship. He reached for a much older folio, a stitched bundle of papyrus fragments he had acquired years ago from an Alexandrian collector. The title, written in faded hieratic script, "Per Ankh and Shoot, the House of the Shadow," it described the polished copper mirrors used by Egyptian priestesses, mirrors believed to hold the second soul, the Ka reflection. A line, translated in Castelforte's own hand, read, "Where metal meets spirit, the reflection remembers." Set the papyrus aside and opened another text, a Renaissance copy of a Greek manuscript on cataptromancy, mirror divination. It described necromancers lowering polished bowls into wells to speak with the dead. Another line, "The water is the breath, the mirror is the mouth." Castelforte exhaled slowly. The Bellinis had used mercury, the most volatile, most dangerous reflective substance known. And their craftsmanship was so precise that the spirit of the glassblower, his breath and intention, would have fused with the molten glass. He reached for a final book, a black-bound volume from Persia, its pages filled with diagrams of obsidian scrying mirrors used to summon ancestral spirits. A marginal note read, "The mirror awakens when the maker's soul is unsettled." Castelforte closed the book. The Bellinis had no idea what they had created. But he did. He opened his private journal and wrote, "Toward a Unified Theory of Living Mirrors by Count Alessandro Castelforte." Egyptian soul mirrors, Greek necromantic bowls, Persian obsidian scrying mirrors, mercury as conduit, glassblower's spirit as imprint, delayed reflection equals awakening. Storms as herald thunder cracked over the lagoon. Tomorrow he would return to the Bellinis, not as a patron, but as the Doge's quiet emissary. The Doge trusted him with matters that touched the boundary between science and the unseen. And this mirror was no longer merely glass. It was waking.